Matthew chapter number 15, verses 1, 2, and 3. Then came to Jesus scribes and Pharisees, which were of Jerusalem, saying, Why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. But he answered and said unto them, Why do ye also transgress the commandments of God by your tradition? This chapter, or this segment of scriptures, deals with one of the most root problems or fundamental problems with any long-standing religious organization. And what we have here is we can see the scribes and the Pharisees did not get along with Jesus. And you can actually see where they followed him or came from Jerusalem looking for fault with him and with his disciples. And I know at this point they were like, we got you. You're doing something wrong. Oh yes, you may be healing people, but you're not doing everything right according to tradition. And what they were saying is his disciples were eating without washing of hands. And we know in the tradition, there's a prescribed amount of water you're supposed to use with washing your hands. According to tradition, you're supposed to wash all the way up to the wrist or even the elbow in some cases. So the disciples didn't do this according to their tradition. And according to the scribes and Pharisees, their tradition superseded and overruled what was actually in the literal Torah, because the Torah does not anywhere gives you a prescribed amount of water that you have to wash with to wash your hands. The Torah doesn't go into all of this. All this was added later. And because men went and added things later, they took those things they added as doctrine. So therefore, they figured that they had Jesus. But this is a fundamental problem with not just the scribes and Pharisees, but like we said, with a lot of political or religious bodies, because what people tends to do over time is they add things and add things and add things, and over time individuals drift away from the true meaning of the word unto whatever their tradition is. There's nothing wrong with washing your hands. That was fine. But washing your hands does not make you a sinner or a righteous person. And that's because tradition-wise, you can fall into this or be led into this, but not according to the scripture. And this is a fundamental thing. And so many times people like to read this and apply this to the scribes and Pharisees that tried to persecute Yeshua, or Jesus, but this goes on commonly through Christian body and other religious bodies. So this is not limited to the Jewish body. This is to any body of believers that eventually take their own doctrine and and supersede what the scripture says. I put this on, I'm going to heaven. I pull this off, I'm going to heaven. I wear this, I'm going to heaven. I don't wear that, I'm going to heaven. I say or have this intimate knowledge, I'm going to heaven. And I don't have this intimate knowledge, I'm not going to heaven. We have all type of things that we do that puts us in a precarious situation where we supersede the commandments of God. God, in your name, help us to always keep you up front and keep your word up front. Help us not to supersede or override or overrule your commandments.